What if I told you that one of the most profound acts you can do in any relationship is to simply let her talk to you? It sounds simple, right? But beneath this action lies a psychological truth so powerful that it could transform not just the way you interact with her, but the very way you view yourself. So many of us are conditioned to speak, to offer advice, or to jump in and fix problems. Yet, there's a deeper power when you take a step back and allow the words of the woman before you to unfold. Now, I want to challenge you to think of this not as a mere act of courtesy or empathy, but as a transformative, almost alchemical process that holds the keys to both your personal evolution and the depth of your relationship. If you're ready to uncover how this simple act can open up hidden realms of connection and understanding, I ask you to stay with me until the end of this speech. We live in a world that often rewards quick thinking and swift action, but there is something deeper at play in the dialogue between men and women, something much more primal and profound than we can usually perceive. When you allow her to talk freely, without interruption, you're not just being polite, you're tapping into a hidden dimension of human connection. In that space, you encounter the unconscious, the forgotten parts of both her and yourself. The feminine energy, which exists within every woman, speaks a language that transcends words. This is where the power of listening comes into play. It's not just about hearing what she says, but about feeling the unspoken, the emotion behind the words, the deeper truths that lie beneath the surface. It's a doorway to understanding the complex and mysterious aspects of her psyche, and by extension your own. There's a profound archetype at work here, the feminine. It has always existed, deeply woven into the fabric of our collective unconscious. When you allow her to speak, you are engaging with this archetype in its purest form. You're not just hearing a person, you're listening to something ancient, something that holds deep wisdom, and something that has been longing for a voice. Yet many men fear this kind of intimacy. It can be vulnerable, unsettling, and confrontational, but therein lies the true power. By letting her talk, you are not only allowing her to express her thoughts, you are granting yourself access to your own deepest fears and desires. It's an act of trust, one that when nurtured, leads to a deeper understanding of yourself and your place in the world. This act of listening is not passive, it's active participation in a dance. It's the rhythm of connection, where both voices are heard, where both parties grow. This is not a one-sided interaction but a partnership that forms the foundation for meaningful relationship. Allowing her to speak creates the space for you to be heard too. In this sacred space of dialogue, you are invited to reflect, to grow, and to evolve. By opening your ears and your heart, you unlock a new world, a world where understanding, growth, and love are no longer distant dreams, but tangible realities that shape the way you relate to the world around you. So I ask you, do you have the courage to let her talk to you, to truly listen, not just to her words, but to the depths beneath them? In this simple yet profound act, you have the power to unlock greater truths about the world, yourself, and your relationship. If you embrace this, you'll find that the path to deeper connection, personal evolution, and emotional fulfillment lies within your willingness to listen. The subconscious mind holds tremendous power over our thoughts, actions, and interaction. It is where our deepest beliefs, fears, and desires reside, influencing how we communicate and how we perceive the world. In relationships, especially between men and women, the subconscious plays a critical role in shaping not only what is said, but also what remains unspoken. Often the words we choose are not fully controlled by our conscious thoughts, but are shaped by underlying psychological patterns that stem from the unconscious. These patterns influence how we listen, respond, and connect with others. Understanding the subconscious is essential in truly comprehending the dynamics of communication between men and women. When you let her talk to you, you're inviting an opportunity for the subconscious mind to express itself. Her words are not just surface-level responses, but contain echoes of her past experiences, her upbringing, and her internal world, which she may not even fully be aware of. Every sentence carries a deeper resonance than what is initially perceived. The true essence of communication lies not in the words themselves, but in the emotional and psychological layers that exist behind them. Her voice is an outlet for these deep-rooted thoughts and feelings, many of which are shaped by years of experiences, memories, and personal truth. Moreover, allowing her to speak freely creates a space where these subconscious elements can come to the surface. It's not simply about hearing the content of her words, it's about tapping into the emotional undercurrent that guides those words. Often the most significant parts of a conversation are the unsaid things, the pauses, the silences, the subtle shifts in tone that reveal deeper truths. These cues, often buried within the subconscious, can only be understood when you create the space for her to truly express herself. In this way, your own subconscious is also drawn into the conversation as you listen, not just with your ears, but with a deeper awareness of what's being shared on an emotional level. Furthermore, engaging with her subconscious communication is an invitation for growth. Each conversation is an opportunity to learn more about the complexities of the human psyche, including your own. When you truly listen, you begin to understand not just the other person, but also the intricate layers of your own mind. Listening is an act of reflection, one that encourages introspection and self-awareness. In this space where both minds are allowed to express freely, both individuals have the potential to grow and evolve together, deepening the connection and understanding in ways that go far beyond what is immediately obvious. The feminine archetype has long been a powerful and symbolic presence in both psychological and cultural contexts. This archetype represents a vast range of qualities: intuition, emotion, receptivity, and connection to the unconscious. In many ways, it is an energy that transcends gender, existing in every person, but often most visibly expressed in women. To truly engage with the feminine, one must not only understand her on a surface level, but also connect to her deeper, more symbolic essence. When you allow her to speak, you are not simply listening to an individual, but engaging with this timeless and dynamic archetype that has been embedded within human consciousness for centuries. By doing so, you tap into a deeper wisdom that exists beyond rational thought and superficial interaction. When a woman speaks, it's not merely her personal thoughts that are being expressed, but also the collective energy of the feminine archetype that has shaped her experiences, her values, and her perspective. This archetype is inextricably linked to the mysteries of life, the cycles of nature, and the complexities of emotional intelligence. To ignore this deeper connection is to overlook a profound part of the human experience. By letting her talk to you, you create an opportunity to access the depth of this archetype, which holds both nurturing and transformative powers. The feminine, in all her complexity, is not just a passive force but an active participant in the unfolding of psychological and emotional development. Through her, you can witness the cyclical nature of life, the ebbs and flows of personal transformation, and the integration of emotion and reason. This archetypal energy is often misunderstood or undervalued in modern society, where logic and action are prioritized over emotional depth and intuition. However, the feminine holds critical insights into human nature that are indispensable to personal growth. Her voice offers perspectives that challenge the status quo, pushing us to reconsider long-held beliefs and assumptions. By listening to her, you step into a more balanced, holistic view of the world, one that embraces both the rational and the intuitive, the masculine and the feminine. This balance is not only necessary for personal growth, but also for the health of relationships. It is in this dialogue where the feminine is allowed to speak freely that new possibilities for connection, understanding, and transformation emerge, leading to richer, more meaningful interactions and a deeper appreciation for the full spectrum of human experience. Listening is one of the most powerful, yet often overlooked skills in any meaningful relationship. It goes far beyond hearing words. It is an active, intentional engagement with another person's thoughts, feelings, and experience. When you allow her to talk freely, you create a space for a deep, transformative type of listening, one that acknowledges and respects the complexities of her inner world. In this space, the traditional roles of speaker and listener blur. It becomes a mutual exchange, not just of words but of emotions, insights, and vulnerability. The true power of listening lies not only in the words she speaks, but also in the silence between those words, in the tone of her voice, in the pauses and hesitations that reveal the layers of meaning beneath the surface. Many of us, when we listen, are waiting for the opportunity to respond. We listen with the intent to offer advice, to fix problems, or to simply interject with our own thoughts. But this type of listening often leads to a disconnection between individuals. True listening requires setting aside the desire to fix or judge, and instead, simply being present. It is about creating space for the other person to express themselves, without the pressure of offering an immediate response. This act of pure, non-judgmental listening is incredibly powerful, because it allows the other person to feel truly heard and understood. In the context of a relationship, when you allow her to talk without interruption, you provide her with the freedom to explore her own thoughts and emotions, which can be both healing and empowering. Moreover, by listening in this way, you gain access to a deeper level of understanding, both of the other person and of yourself. The act of truly hearing someone out requires you to be present, to be fully in tune with their words and energy. This demands vulnerability. It asks you to put aside your own agenda and focus entirely on the person before you. This level of engagement fosters a deep emotional connection, as both individuals are invited to share and be shared with in a space of trust and openness. In relationships, especially those with significant emotional depth, the ability to listen in this way can lead to greater intimacy, as it nurtures an environment where each person feels valued and understood on a profound level. Listening therefore becomes more than a communication skill. It becomes a bridge that connects souls, a way to honor and validate the other person's experience. The dynamic of communication between men and women can often feel like a dance, a subtle and complex interplay of words, gestures, and emotions. Like a dance, the flow of conversation requires rhythm, patience, and a willingness to be fully engaged in the present moment. However, in the hustle of daily life, many conversations are reduced to transactional exchanges, where the true depth of connection is lost. When you allow her to talk, you are participating in a much deeper dance, one that goes beyond surface-level communication and taps into the emotional and psychological currents that guide each interaction. In this dance, listening becomes as essential as speaking. It's not a one-sided performance, but rather a harmonious back and forth that requires each partner to give and receive in equal measure. When you allow her to express herself fully, you are offering her the space to share her innermost thoughts and feelings. In turn, you gain insights into her world, the way she perceives herself, others, and the universe around her. This gives you a unique opportunity to engage with her on a level that goes beyond simple conversation. It becomes a profound exchange of energy, ideas, and emotion. You begin to understand not just the words she speaks, but the essence of who she is and how she views the world. Just as in a dance, there is a rhythm to this exchange. There are moments of stillness, where silence is not uncomfortable but rich with meaning, allowing both partners to reflect and process what has been said. There are moments of intensity, where emotions run high and words take on greater significance. And then there are moments of grace, where the conversation flows naturally and both parties feel seen, heard, and understood. This rhythm, when allowed to develop naturally, creates a sense of unity and connection that is hard to achieve through more traditional, transactional forms of communication. In this way, the act of letting her talk becomes a way to engage in a psychological dance that enriches both partners' understanding of each other. This dynamic interaction is not limited to simple conversation. It is a way of building a deeper connection, a more meaningful bond. The dance of communication between men and women, when approached with an open mind and heart, becomes a transformative process that encourages growth, healing, and mutual respect. Each exchange is a step in this dance, one that invites you both to explore and understand the full range of each other's experiences, thoughts, and feelings. The more you engage in this dance, the more profound the connection becomes, ultimately leading to a deeper understanding of each other's inner worlds and a stronger, more harmonious relationship. Many people are afraid of intimacy, especially the kind that requires vulnerability and emotional openness. This fear often manifests in the way we communicate with one another. We hold back, we avoid difficult conversations, and we shy away from truly exposing ourselves to the people we care about. When it comes to relationships between men and women, This fear of intimacy can create a barrier that prevents deeper connection and mutual understanding. Allowing her to talk is an invitation to move past that fear and embrace a form of communication that fosters closeness and trust. Intimacy, in its truest sense, is not just physical but emotional and psychological. It's about sharing your innermost thoughts and feelings, your fears, desires, and vulnerabilities. When you let her talk, you are allowing her to express parts of herself that may be difficult to reveal, and in doing so, you're giving her permission to be fully seen and heard. This act of emotional vulnerability, when met with genuine listening, creates an environment where both partners can drop their defenses and engage with each other on a much deeper level. It's in these moments of raw, unfiltered conversation that true intimacy is born. However, fear often gets in the way of this. For many men, the idea of allowing a woman to speak openly can trigger feelings of discomfort, as it requires them to set aside their own agendas and judgment. It may also bring up the fear of not being able to respond in a way that is adequate or supportive. But in reality, the very act of listening, without trying to fix or offer solutions, creates a sense of safety and openness. When she feels that you are genuinely present and listening, without the pressure to solve her problems or offer advice, she will begin to open up even more. This in turn allows for a deeper connection to take root, one based on mutual trust and understanding. The key to overcoming this fear of intimacy is to embrace vulnerability, not just as something the other person offers, but as something that both individuals engage in together. By allowing her to speak freely, you are opening yourself up to a deeper connection with her, and perhaps even with yourself. It's an act of mutual surrender, where both parties let go of their defenses and engage with each other in a way that fosters emotional closeness. This vulnerability, while initially uncomfortable, ultimately leads to a more fulfilling, intimate relationship. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to build a connection rooted in openness and trust. The act of listening goes far beyond just hearing words. It is a gateway to personal growth and self-awareness. When you allow her to talk and truly listen, you are participating in an exchange that not only benefits your relationship, but also deepens your understanding of yourself. This process of listening opens doors to greater emotional intelligence and personal evolution because it challenges you to step outside of your own thoughts, beliefs, and perspectives. By engaging in the act of listening, without the intention to respond or to shape the conversation, you create an opportunity for both self-reflection and growth. When you truly listen to another person, especially when they are sharing deep, personal thoughts and emotions, it demands that you remain present in the moment. This act of presence is one of the most transformative practices for personal development. It requires you to set aside your ego, your judgments, and your own experiences, and simply be open to what the other person is sharing. In this state of open receptivity, you may begin to notice things about yourself, habits, reactions, assumptions that you would have otherwise overlooked. You might realize, for example, that you tend to interrupt, or that you often rush to offer solutions instead of simply holding space for the other person's emotions. By becoming aware of these tendencies, you begin to understand how your own internal world shapes the way you engage with others. This self-awareness is a crucial step in personal growth, because it allows you to actively work on improving your communication and your emotional responses. Furthermore, listening to her without the intention to fix or advise allows you to understand her on a much deeper level. It's not just about hearing her words, it's about tapping into her emotional world and exploring the layers of meaning behind her expression. As you do so, you become more attuned to her needs, her desires, and her experience. This deepened understanding can foster greater empathy, which is an essential component of emotional intelligence. The more you listen with empathy, the more you begin to understand the complexities of human emotions, how they shape behaviors, thoughts, and actions. This understanding not only improves your relationships, but also helps you to become more attuned to your own emotional landscape. In this way, the act of listening becomes a form of personal evolution. It challenges you to grow emotionally, mentally, and psychologically. It opens the door to new insights about yourself and others, paving the way for deeper connections and more meaningful interaction. The more you engage in this practice, the more you develop the skills necessary for emotional intelligence, skills that are vital for creating fulfilling relationships and living a life that is both self-aware and compassionate. Listening, therefore, becomes a powerful tool not only for understanding others, but also for understanding yourself. In conclusion, the simple act of letting her talk holds transformative power far beyond what we typically understand. It is not merely about allowing someone to speak, it is about engaging with the deepest parts of ourselves and each other, creating a space where true connection can emerge. As you listen, you are not just hearing words, you are unlocking the subconscious, engaging with the feminine archetype, and opening the doors to intimacy, growth, and understanding. Every conversation is an opportunity to dance together in the rhythm of communication, where both partners learn, grow, and evolve. The act of listening invites vulnerability, breaks down barriers, and builds a deeper emotional connection, one where both individuals feel seen, heard, and valued. So the next time she begins to speak, resist the urge to interrupt, to offer solutions, or to immediately respond. Instead, allow the space for her words to unfold and listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart and mind. In doing so, you are not only deepening your connection with her, but you are also embarking on a journey of personal growth and emotional evolution. Remember, true communication is not about what is said, but how deeply we are willing to listen and understand the soul of the person speaking. By letting her talk, you are opening the door to a richer, more meaningful connection, and in the process, discovering more about who you are and what you are capable of in your relationship. Let her talk, and in doing so, let the process of transformation unfold, not just for her but for you too.